What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here. Look, I've had a lot of people ask about this player, so I feel like I have to VOD review them. If you have not heard, YBY1 is tearing it up on the Vietnamese ladder right now. 1.7 average. Not a single bot for 13 wins in his last 20. If the name sounds a little familiar to you guys, I did VOD review YBY1 a little bit earlier this year because he did incredibly well in the Box Boot Camp, came in second place overall, and I mean, kind of an insane gap, right? St. Vicious 900 LP, YBY 1200, and then Setsuko, of course. I mean, Setsuko is Setsuko, so enough said. Also, just check the tracker in the top right of YBY's stream, 311, and I'm pretty sure there's another first in here that is from the previous game that just hasn't populated yet, so 1.7 average, that's only going to get better as this VOD goes on, so yeah, this guy might be a new god of TFT. We VOD reviewed him earlier in the year, and honestly, when I watched the games, they looked like Giga high roll games, and I thought, okay, maybe this guy's just a high roller, but I mean, he came second Box Boot Camp. He's smurfing on a Vietnamese server, which is not a weak server by any means. It's got an insanely big player base. I think the guy's just really good at the game, and maybe I've VOD reviewed a couple of high roll games, and like, I don't know, maybe every game this guy plays looks high roll because he's just that good. I guess we're gonna see. Whoa, really? Holy moly. That's already wild to me that he wants to opt for the Superfan Kennen as a pickup here. This is a chosen that I'm really not that big a fan of, but he opts for Superfan Kennen, and now he has Lilia, so we can play around it. He also has this double Urgot setup. Perhaps it's because if he gets dropped a Gnar, his opener is like kind of gross. Augment-wise here, Buried Treasures is always like really solid. They nerf cutting corners pretty significantly. Now it's 3 XP. So you don't really want to go for that most of the time. I like Buried Treasures a ton. Gives you the opportunity to high roll like a second tier and just make blue buff on the spot, and just like your spot's really good. Or like bows and stuff like that. Or you can just, I don't know. Most components have good items that you can build out of them. And our items right now would really like some kind of finished component here. We could go something like BT Urgot and just play for like an AD type bruiser game, like a Zed, a Viego type thing, though I don't love that as much in the meta right now, but I don't really see what else there is. Maybe if we get dropped like Belt or something, we can go like Evan's Shroud and go something else, but we'll see. I don't really like healing orbs early. I mean, I love the augment, it's just it doesn't look that good. We have 2 out of 3 Heartsteel right here, but not enough Heartsteel to actually play it. He's got the Sentinel in right now. You can level for the Aphelios, actually, and he's not even going to play the Urgot, and he's just going to get this board in here. Okay, so he's getting a true damage with the Yasuo, and then just playing Sentinel here, and then I wonder what our slams are going to be, if anything. We got dropped Bow. This is like half of really good items, right? Like, if you want to be the super degen player, and look, there's the extra first, he crosses over 1k LP. If you want to be the super degen player who plays for like 80 flex, which means I force the same items every game, half of IE, half of blue buff, half of red buff, half of Evan's Shroud. But it's hard to get by doing that kind of stuff in higher elos. So I wouldn't be shocked to see something like a BT Slam. Renan Slam is also like solid. You want to figure out how to get rid of this tier, which like it could end up being blue buff later, but it's kind of weird. I think it'd be BT or Renan. Like Shojin is an item, but it's not that good. And yeah, it looks like he's just gonna opt to slam nothing here. Maybe he will just play the Lost Streak open style and make nothing. I don't know what kind of style this guy really plays, if he's more into that full open, if he's into, you know, just like slamming items here and saving HP. Looks like he's definitely more full open style. A second sword can be a Deathblade. He's looking at Shojin potentially. He's also looking at the BT. I wouldn't be so upset about something like a Deathblade, and like we continue to greed the items, Deathblade, red buff, blue buff, and then this can be Evan's Shroud later, but we'll see. And he is going to pivot the board into this this KDA version of the board. Yeah, this looks a lot stronger. He's going to end up winning this fight, which is a little bit annoying, because now he's lost into win with not an incredibly strong board. But, I mean, his board's not bad. And the Kaisa pair is really nice, right? If you can hit Kaisa 2 with the Superfan Kennen as your frontliner, it kind of solves your entire early game, especially if you end up high rolling like a Nico somewhere down the line. He gets Big Shot Corki here, which is hard to pick up, right? It's a great unit chosen wise, but the downside is that you're gonna have to sell your frontline, and then your frontline's gonna feel really weak here. He also is pivoting into this true damage version of the board now that he has the Senna here, which is interesting. Okay, and he's just gonna slam Shojin here in this spot and make 10. So wow, he likes the Shojin slam. That's actually really, really interesting because this is an item I think a lot of people in North America are really, really low on. You know, I'm pretty sure Dish Soap said, like, never make this Shojin item unless you have to. Like, he was like, I stopped slamming this Shojin item and then I hit, like, rank 1 NA. As you can see, pretty similar to NA, he's fighting a lot of relatively weak boards. I know Senna, I mean, Senna's an amazing unit. She's a very, very strong unit early. So you can definitely, like, that's the idea behind the Shojin Slam. Bow would have been amazing for red buff, but that's okay. Yeah, let's look at our items here and look at what the potential slams are from this position, because I'm really interested to get an idea into his item priority. He goes, so wait, I can do this to go back by 1 frame. That's that pro YouTube knowledge. Press comma to go back by 1 frame, so that I can actually see his items, because he tabs into it for like half a second. Okay, so we have cloak, sword, and bow as our open components here, and now these are our options: cloak, bow, sword. Is it just me, or do I not like a lot of our options here? We made Shojin, and now I'm kind of confused as to what we want to actually go here, because like Gwinsu looks horrible. Like, you don't really love Ionic Spark that much in this meta. The problem is, if you make Shojin, I don't know how you kill Cloak very easily. I mean, you can go like Adapticone, I guess. I mean, I guess you could take the Rod and go Ionic Spark and lock yourself into an AP game. You're already a little bit locked. You could just take a 3-cost Glove as well, but like, what do you make from this spot? Do you make like QSS or something? I don't know. I have no clue what I would take in this spot, actually. I think I would take the glove, yeah. But like, am I making QSS? You almost have to make QSS to play for Streak, which I don't really like. He does get Heartsteel in, so 2-5 Heartsteel is actually really, really good. Because it's I heard Doruwaza in my chat refer to it as perfect interval, where if you get Heartsteel in at 2-5, that means your second cash out, if you just keep it in for 8 rounds, 8 player combats, is going to be 4-1 after 4-1, like at 4-2. So yeah, you keep it in for this end of stage 2, first half of stage 3, the rest of stage 3, and then 4-1, and then you cash out at 4-2, and then, you know, you can make your pivot at 4-2, you know, your fast 8 pivot, as most people are doing. So I like getting Heartsteel in a spot like this a lot, and I mean, Heartsteel is Heartsteel. Yeah, as you can see now, we just have the Superfan Cannon in that like maybe can be made better. He's gonna opt to just go IE here with the Shojin, so maybe he's thinking of some kind of like Ezreal or Caitlyn setup with like IE Shojin, and just hold on to the bow here. And yeah, we're just gonna play an AD game from Shojin, which I guess makes some sense. Like, if you want to play for Streak, this item is passable on units like Ezreal and Caitlyn. I know there's been a lot of discourse about that, and I think, you know, the stats don't love it as much as something like blue buff on Ezreal, but it can't be that bad, right? You know, it provides them the ability to cast, and it allowed him to 4-streak with like even what wasn't that strong of a board. But I mean, it's kind of crazy that he took the Superfan Cannon. The Superfan Cannon really got him there, in a way that surprised me a lot. I wouldn't be that upset about a Protector's Vow here. You don't really want to go something like Static Shiv. You could go, I almost want to keep this Cloak so I can go Evan's Shroud, because if you go something like an Adapticone, you're left with the Chain Vest open, which is also fine. I think I would lean towards Protector's Vow, and then I can go for Evan Shroud, because I would really like Evan Shroud, like finish my items out with like red buff Evan Shroud, and then our items are looking really, really good. I mean, I think the obvious level is for Lilia in a spot like this. The Superfan item is going to be really, really nice on Kennen. Wow, he even sells Centipede here to say that, okay, we're going to make gold. And maybe he's going to go for a Gargoyle. But I don't really love Gargoyle because it leaves you with open tier. But maybe he's got some kind of idea for this tier, like Gargoyle Redemption maybe could be really, really nice. And yeah, he's just going to go for Gargoyle. I mean, it's probably the strongest single item in this spot right now, especially you can solo frontline this Kennen with the Protector's Vow. He lives, and yeah, he just goes Gargoyle. All right, augment-wise, we're on a relatively rich win streak. I wonder if it's ever rich get richer. I don't think this blank slate augment is very good. Vampirism is also just a broken augment. I don't tend to like Vampirism from win streak in a spot like this because you're getting so little value out of it right now. I would probably lean rich get richer. I think the stats probably hate that play. Oh, also, galaxy-wise, I believe we're in Prismatic Final. Rich get richer, 4.68. Yeah, the stats hate it versus something like Vampirism. I think the stats like a lot more, 4.27, but we'll see what he goes for here. Like, this could definitely accelerate our economy. I guess the idea, though, the more I think about it, the more I like Vampirism, right? We have Heartsteel in, right? So we're probably going to lose some fights. And, you know, like, we can just keep the Heartsteel in and get a solid cash out of Vampirism. He's looking at both a lot, though. And then he gets Sword as his item, or, you know, the you have my sword, but yeah, opts to not go for it. Because yeah, like this really leans into the ability for us to lose a few fights this stage and beginning of next stage, and then play for insanely high cap with Vampirism plus Heartsteel cash out. I like that a lot. It's gonna be interesting when we end up losing these fights, because like if we manage to somehow streak this entire stage with like this board that's not amazing, but not terrible. You know, the Senna does a ton of work with these items. The Kennen is also doing work with these items. There's a Caitlyn immediately, and yeah, he's just gonna opt to move items over here. You lose true damage, but you get a Caitlyn on your board. His cash out was also, it was just gold there, right? Because he already had these two components, I believe. Yeah, he did. So yeah, that was our cash out. But yeah, the Caitlyn actually feels really, really nice here. Just as an extra unit to kill units. The only problem with this Caitlyn unit is she spreads her damage out a bit. So in some ways, she can be worse. In some fights, she can actually be worse than Senna at like actually killing units. But you want to be able to hold all of these Heartsteel units plus the Caitlyn, so you kind of have to sell the Senna. But yeah, it's a little rough. Red buff here would be really, really nice, but we can't pick that up. I guess you probably want a redemption here, I would think, is your item. He's looking at potentially the Yone or the... Okay, he's just going to go for Glove here. Oh, is it really going to be Last Whisper? Wow, okay. Looks like he's just going to make Last Whisper here. Or he could make nothing, I guess. But the Glove certainly leans towards Last Whisper here, because if you don't end up making Last Whisper here, like if you greed for like the red buff, I guess the Glove can still work out as like a Heartsteel, or not Heartsteel, the name of the trait, but a Steadfast Heart component. And yeah, he looks at the Glove slam here, says, I don't really care to slam it here. It probably would have saved us some HP, right? We would have killed like an extra 1 or 2 units here. Yeah, like here's the issue with Caitlyn on these boards, right? Look at how much she spread the damage out. Like low key, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to say low key less because I say it like high key, I say low key too much. But it actually, like Senna probably would have killed more units here. Like definitely. So yeah. We dropped the 8-bit Garen. This is always something I'm curious about, if 8-bit Garen is actually like good in positions like this, and he says yes, it is. Because like the 8-bit doesn't really do anything for Garen. You're basically playing Garen down a synergy, but at the same time, it's not like Superfan. I mean, Superfan was giving you a full item, but I mean, this Garen unit is a beast. So it's, you know, I'm not doubting Garen whatsoever. Another rough fight. Woo, no. Another rough fight for the Caitlyn, where she just had a really hard time finishing these last few targets. So yeah, we've actually taken a lot more damage than I think we would have wanted this stage because of this Caitlyn. I wonder if it was ever the play to just keep the Senna and pay the 1 gold to hold Caitlyn on your bench, because I feel like we'd probably be like 6 health higher if we had kept the Senna in instead of the Caitlyn. We are going to Fortuit, just because we're playing TFT in current year. Item-wise here, let's check these out. I mean, I really like Steadfast Heart here, and then, yeah, GS I think makes perfect sense. Like, if you go Last Whisper, your components are really, really tough to make work. I would be surprised if he goes something like a Last Whisper here. The only downside is you are killing your ability to make Armor Shred if you go the Steadfast Heart here, which is a little scary, but I don't know. Feels really, really rough to make LW here, because then you're left with Sword Chain open. I guess you could go Protector's Bound player on the Sword, but I kind of like the slams that I'm talking about, I feel like use the items really, really well. Would have preferred to take that loss there to get a better cash out, but that's okay. Prismatic Final, like I said, from the Augments. Golden Ticket is pretty much untakeable. Wow. Curse Crown is also, I think, not very strong, but he immediately rerolls it. I would at least think about it, but I'm mostly thinking about it because like I haven't seen this guy play before. And yeah, Stationary. Ooh, Harm Assist immediately ripped. Wow. Are the stats? I mean, I think Stationary Support 4.38 third pick, and then Harm Assist 4.44, so about the same. But yeah, pretty surprising to me that he immediately rips that Harm Assist. He doesn't even think about it. Wow, and this is also really interesting. He opts to not make Mordekaiser 2 on this roll down here. I wonder why. If he thinks he's not going to play around it. I can for sure see, does he opts to not make it, right? Because I feel like 2-star 3 costs are really like big for stabilizing you late game. I mean, maybe the idea is that he wants to go for some kind of backline chosen. But sorry, something just like fell over in my room. But yeah, or some kind of frontline chosen because we already this Caitlyn. But yeah, it's actually really interesting. Gonna continue to roll down here. Finds EDMZ, Caitlyn pair, Blitzcrank pair. We're actually so close to a lot of stuff. Is it ever EDMZ here? Yeah, I spoiled myself a little bit by seeing him take that EDMZ. It's an interesting pickup, right? You go something like Edge of Night Hodge on him. You could even move Caitlyn items over, but like really don't want to move these Caitlyn items that badly. But like, You could also just go like IE plus something, because you do have so much healing. He is actually going to open sell the Caitlyn here and just fully pivot this board into a Zed board. IE, Edge of Night, and Hand of Justice here. Also picks up the Jhin here, which could actually be a decent sort of like backline carry. Also notice that he's keeping Heartsteel in here, 65 HP. He says, you know, I can play a decent enough board. He's going to get the Jhin, and he's going to get the big shot in as well. So big pivot, very, very big pivots here, and is just going to play around this Zed in the mid game. I think this is what YBY1 is really good at. Like, after glancing through his match history and some of his games, I think this is where he really excels, and this is why his stats are so insane on this patch, is these 4-2 stabilizations here. Playing around this Zed, not getting baited by the Caitlyn pair that he had, or the Blitzcrank pair, saying, okay, I'm just going to full pivot my board into this EDM board. Pivots into 4 EDM with the Jax here that he was holding onto. So he's 4 EDM Zed, then with the Crowd Diver, with the... From the Yone, he's got 3 Mosher in, a little bit randomly, but, you know, he wants to play this Poppy on his board, so fair enough. And then he also has this Jhin to hold on to the Shojin to stabilize his board. Like, it all fits together really, really nicely. And he also did it while not spending all of his gold, right? He's making 30 this round. He's 65 HP. He won a fight. Like, this is what this patch is all about, is these kind of 4-2 stabilizations. What was his open item here? I didn't catch it. Bow is open here. A little awkward, right? These slams are really good on Zed, but they ended up making his items a bit awkward. I don't... like, Titans is not horrible on Poppy. You don't have healing reduct yet, so, like, if you could pick up a red buff, you wouldn't mind that whatsoever. Can't pick that up there. I guess LW looks pretty good here. You can just LW, have Jhin Shred for the Zed. Okay, we can't get that either. What are we taking here? Runons? I mean, I guess Cloak is good regardless. I don't know if it's actually going to be Runons here, though. Because you could take Cloak and hold it a little bit for Evan Shroud. I'm interested to see if he wants to just open Slam Runons here. Also really interested to see, do you roll in this spot? Because you just picked up Poppy pair, Zac pair. You don't have that many other 2 stars to hit, is the only thing about rolling here. Like, this is actually... I think this is a very difficult position to know whether you roll or not in this position. Because you have Poppy, you have Zac. So you have your frontline paired. It's like, if you don't hit these 2 units, your front line's a little weak, but your Zed is pretty strong. I think, like, this play right here, like, I don't know, ask yourself if you would roll in this spot. I think I would roll in this spot. But if he doesn't roll in this spot and he is stable here, I think, like, that is... yeah, well, we'll see. I think this is a really pivotal moment here to know whether you want to roll in this position. He's going to pick up the Zed and the Poppy, and it looks like he's not going to opt to roll for anything here. Also picks up the Echo. So yeah, he says, you know what, my board's good enough. I have the headliner Zed. I have the set 2. I have this Jhin on my backline. It's actually kind of annoying because now we're holding... he actually messed up, right, buying these units, but I think he was thinking. But yeah, he actually missed out. I don't think he ended up missing out on Jhin Guns, but he theoretically could have missed out on Jhin Guns because he picked these units up. But I don't think it ended up actually making a difference here. But yeah, he's just gonna sack these rounds. The upside is he's 56 HP, right? If there's ever a reason to say, like, okay, like, this is why I would not roll on these rounds, it's because he's so healthy, right? I also wonder if maybe this is a comp that's a little bit ahead of the meta, this EDM Zed to stabilize on, because this is not something I'm seeing on NA whatsoever. I know Joe B in my chat was talking about how Zed plus a bunch of EDM units can stabilize you really hard. I do rate this Zed unit quite highly. But he's actually going to take kind of a beating in these 2 fights. What were we at 2 fights ago? Because we are down to 43 here. Yeah, we took 22 damage after 2 fights. It just goes to show, like, how important the early game was, because, you know, like, if you're, you know, 30 HP at 4-3 there, or 4-5 before the combats, like, your game is just drastically different, right? You just end up dying, and your game is kind of fucked. But because he's so healthy, because he has this vampirism as well, he's allowed to sort of chill for a couple of rounds, and yeah, I mean, now he's 43 HP, which isn't insanely healthy, but it's not low. We actually get dropped Evan Shroud here and red buff. Wow. I feel like your slams are just gonna be Evan Shroud, red buff, and this looks like Bramble Vest, I think. Bramble Vest really, really solid. Yeah, I mean, I think I would just end up making those slams. Curious to see what he decides to make here. Oh my god, and he's gonna fit the 5 Heartsteel in here. Holy woach. So he's gonna sell the Jhin here, fit 5 Heartsteel on the board. He's 43 HP. He just cashed out, though. He has to live for 4 rounds on this board. He's also not going to roll at all. He's just looking at pushing 9 here, which is kind of insane to me. I think if you're going to play 5 Heartsteel here, you should definitely roll a bit. But look at this Zed, man. This Zed's just tearing through boards. We're getting a ton of Heartsteel stacks because it's late game, and we have 5 in. That's 50 Heartsteel stacks for us right there. And now we're 43 HP. We're almost guaranteed to cash here. You can level at this point, get the 4 EDM in with the Jacks. He's thinking about getting out of 5 Heartsteel, but I think with this amount of HP, you can actually potentially greet it. But yeah, it's crazy to me how stable this board has been, but I really like the pivot of the items onto the Kayn. I think is really, really smart. You know, just holds these items actually quite well. He's going to spread red buff to everyone. The Shojin's going to get him casting. If he gets some kills, we're going to potentially farm some HP or gold, which is really nice. And it looks like this fight's going to be okay. I think people might be underrating this Zed unit because, oh my god, this 3-item Zed with all these healing augments actually just solo carried this fight so hard. It might actually be that EDM Zed was insanely high roll to hit in that spot, but I don't think everyone would have identified that as very high roll. Also, like if you had slammed Caitlyn items like I was suggesting before 4-2, you wouldn't have had this pivot open to you, which is really, really crucial. So I think like the not slam on 4-1 I think is really is something that it seems almost necessary if you're going to be able to play like this open to all these comps and have this much ability to play. There's someone with 8 Aries. I don't know if that's the person who has 8 Aries who just picked up that Ari. It's a bit scary here. Looking at like Hodge, IE. You just take Hodge here to finish out the items. Yeah, 1 off Ari 3. That is really scary. And he's just going to say, okay, I need to roll here and try to deny Aries. Or I could pick up like the Zeds and play for Zed3. The problem is that it's just so far off. He gets Poppy as well and the Viego. And he's just going to opt to finally get Viego in here. Get the Crowd Diver, or not Crowd Diver, but Edgelord in here. He doesn't have Pentakill in yet, right? Yeah, because he doesn't have a lot of the other Edgelord units. But, you know, Viego just a decent Edgelord to play on your board. And it's going to put you in a, oh my god, actually an amazing spot after we get this Heartsteel cash out. I mean, that's the power of a big Heartsteel cash out this late into the game. We just get a the Ornn item gloves here, and that's perfect for our Viego too. But yeah, like what a cool, I feel like I see people stabilizing on this board very, very little, like 4 EDM Zed. But like he's stabilized so, like look how strong his board is. The Zed is just unkillable, flying around the board with all of this extra healing and the Edge of Night. He's gonna find Sona too, which he's just gonna play on his board itemless as just a unit to cap out the board. And we're actually still like, I'm curious what the board's actually gonna evolve into. If we're going to stay in a lot of this stuff late game, you know, like a lot of the units fit together quite well. I think, wow, I need to watch some more of this guy's games, but I wonder how frequently he plays this board. It's Heartsteel Kayn as his chosen. I don't think you buy this, right? Because you have to downgrade. You lose your Zed. Wow, he's gonna go for it and then move items to Sona here, and then play the double Kayn board. Don't talk to me or my son ever again. What a play here. That's really, really interesting. And he just says Kayn is strong enough as a late game carry that I'm gonna play around this. Wow, like you lose the Zed, but you gain a Kayn, right? And now both of these Kayns are gonna flip into that version. He's playing the Alawi here with all the tentacles backlined, which is wild. I guess there's an Akali in his pool or something. But yeah, I mean, I think he has faith in this Kayn and this Sona to carry these items. He just threw all of the like attack speed and mana items onto this Sona here. And let's watch this Kayn he jumped into the middle of the board and he's kind of, holy, look at this Kayn go! This chosen Kayn is doing an insane amount of work. Wait, he ends up dying though. He loses this fight, but he still has the 3 Heartsteel in because he got it in with the Kayn. He's 28 HP. He can afford to take 1 more loss. He's 2 rounds until he cashes out here. If he can get to this next cash out, I feel like this game might be Jover. And we have these 2 Kayns here. It looks like they can both farm. I actually haven't played double Kayn on my board, I don't think. So can they both farm HP? Wait, it's on takedown, right? Like what if they both hit a unit? Do you double farm HP? Because that would be kind of crazy. He goes up to 30 HP. You can see his HP going up there, up to 32 HP, up to 34 HP. Oh my god. Up to 34 HP, and he's making 50 gold there. There's a Kayn with a KDA spat, I guess, if he wants to go double Kayn, but he's not really playing around KDA, so that seems difficult. Third Sona item here would be nice, but what do you even take here? Is there anything GS for the like attack speed? Just ends up getting Gunblade here, gets a Tome, cashes out. Emo Emo Sona actually fits perfectly onto this board because you have the holy woach. Okay, I mean this guy's just a beast, right? Like, isn't this like he's really cooking on this board here, just slowly. I mean, not even slowly. He definitely like full pivoted earlier, but then after that, like making the logical upgrades on this board that like some of them seem crazy, like that pivot into Kane, where you have to sell your Zed carry, but he just says Kane 2 plus the Kane 1 is strong enough, plus moving the items to Sona. Gets a Zed in here now for Crowd Diver. Holy, I mean, yeah, and he moves the items from the second Kane over to the Zed, so he basically got to remake his Zed, but now he has a Kane 2 on his board, which is absolutely going to, let's see. I think it might just go to town on this level 9 front line. He's level 10. He's so much higher capped with all of these cash outs, and it's going to be a first from YBY1. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to do my intro a little bit slower because some people said the info cards appear here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Twitch, all my other links down below. Also, I will remind again, I have a link down below to my VODs channel, which takes VODs from my Twitch of games that I thought were interesting, and I post them there. So if you want more content from me, if you can't catch every stream, but you want to catch the highlight VODs, then check that out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. This was an absolutely crazy game.